When the black SU versus rolled into Mapleview Estates, Beverly Klene honestly thought they were there to thank her. She even straightened her Mapleview HOA president polo and marched out to greet them, smiling like she had just filed a complaint against God himself for unapproved sunsets. The smile died when the guy in the suit said, "Beverly Klene? With the Homeowners Association?" And two other agents moved in behind her. They cuffed her in front of the clubhouse. Right under the community safety is our #1 priority banner she had made. Across the street, I leaned on my mailbox, watching the woman who had once demanded a key to every door in the neighborhood sputter as they read her the charges. Unlawful entry, interception of communications, mail tampering, impersonating a federal officer. Those were safety checks. Beverly shrieked, ankle wobbling in a wedge sandal. "I am the HOA president." I raised my coffee in a tiny toast and thought, funny, Bev. The feds usually do not arrest people for being too helpful. My name is Noah Briggs, and I made the terrible mistake of thinking an HOA neighborhood might be quiet and low maintenance. Mapleview Estates, in the sleepy town of Cedar Heights, advertised itself as secure, family-focused, tightly managed. That last part should have been the red flag. I am a software engineer. I work from home, enjoy not talking to people, and bought the corner lot at the end of Aspen Circle because it had a big oak and a small shed where I could pretend I did not live in a cul-de-sac. I met Beverly Klene on day 1. She appeared in my driveway as if summoned by the sound of a moving truck. Late 50s, helmet hair, clipboard, lanyard like a cop from a TV show that got canceled after 1 season. "Welcome to Mapleview. I am Beverly, HOA president," she said, handing me a folder thick enough to be evidence. "Thanks," I said. "Looks thorough. We pride ourselves on safety. Cameras. Patrols. Compliance. We do not have crime here." The way she said crime suggested she meant unregulated doormats. I nodded, already regretting everything. Good to know. As I turned to head inside, she cleared her throat. "Oh, and one more thing, Noah. At Mapleview, we participate in a community safety initiative." She said it with capital letters. "What does that mean?" She smiled in a way that made my neck itch. "We will talk about it at the meeting. Do not worry. You will feel so much safer when we are done." I did not feel safer. The community safety initiative turned out to be worse than I imagined. At the first HOA meeting, Beverly pulled out a glossy trifold brochure titled "One Community, One Key, Mapleview Access Program." She spoke like a cult leader selling timeshares. "In an emergency," she said, "seconds matter. Fire, gas leak, wellness checks. We cannot always wait for first responders to break down doors. So, as president, I am implementing a safety lockbox system." The system was this. Every homeowner would provide the HOA with keys to every exterior door. Beverly would store them in a secure, centralized key cabinet in the HOA office. Authorized HOA personnel, mostly her, could use them for emergency access. "Who decides what counts as an emergency?" I asked. "The board," she said. "Which is me and my team." Her team was 2 women who nodded like dashboard bobbleheads and a guy who clearly just wanted the pool heated on time. A few people looked uneasy, but Beverly had her scare tactics ready. "What if a pipe bursts?" she said. "What if an elderly resident falls and cannot reach the door? What if a fire starts and you are not home?" Someone asked, "Cannot we just leave a key with a neighbor?" Her smile tightened. "We cannot rely on informal systems. This is about standardization." When she emailed the mandatory key submission form, I ignored it. A week later, I got my first violation notice. Failure to participate in safety initiative. Class B violation. Daily fines may apply. I wrote back. Provide legal basis within the covenants for forced key surrender. Until then, no. She responded in 12 minutes. Refusal to cooperate with safety protocols will be documented. The board takes a dim view of residents who endanger their neighbors. Neighbors started talking. "I just gave her the front door key," one guy told me. "I do not want trouble." "She said insurance might not cover us if we refuse," another whispered. "Is that true?" I asked. She shrugged. I do not know. But Beverly sure sounded sure. Beverly always sounded sure. That was her trick. Say anything with enough authority, and half the neighborhood folds. I did not fold. And that is when things got weird. The first weird thing was small. Stuff in my house was moved. Nothing huge. A mug in a different spot. Office chair rolled a little back. A drawer half open that I knew I had closed. I thought I was just tired. Then one afternoon, I came home from a grocery run and found a sticky note on my kitchen counter. Your back door was unlocked. I secured it for you. Bev with a smiley face. I stared at it. The back door has a deadbolt. I always lock it. I check it twice. It is, in fact, a problem. But I know I had locked it that morning. There were no signs of forced entry. No broken lock. No disturbed frame. Which meant either I was losing my mind, or someone with a key had been in my house. At the next HOA meeting, I brought it up. Beverly, did you go into my home? I asked. She did not even look bothered. I found your door unlocked during my safety walk. As president, I have a duty to secure the property. You do not have a key to my house, I said. She glanced at her clipboard. Do not I? Several people laughed nervously. I did not give you one, I said. So if you have one, it is because you copied it illegally, or you. Are you accusing me of burglary? She snapped with a sharp tone. I noticed her team stiffen. One of them looked genuinely freaked out. Then the letters started. First, anonymous notes in my mailbox about strange men seen near your door and concerns about packages. Then reminders that the HOA had the right to observe and report suspicious activity. One morning I caught Beverly standing across the street from my house with binoculars. I am monitoring, she said, as if that explained anything. For what? I asked. For compliance, she said calmly. Then came the night I heard my side gate open at 2 a.m. I checked my cameras the next day. There, in crisp HD, was Beverly using a key to open my unlocked side gate, walking up to my back door, producing another key, letting herself into my house with a flashlight. She stayed for 10 minutes. When she left, she carried a canvas tote. From that tote, as she walked away, I saw the corner of a white box with a familiar shipping label. From my package. I checked where I had tucked that box, top shelf of the pantry. Gone. And then it hit me. Packages had been arriving opened. Some went missing. Others had been delayed. I had assumed it was porch pirates. But I had cameras on the porch. Never saw a thief. I pulled up footage from the past month and watched the pattern. Amazon truck drops a box. Postal carrier leaves mail. At some point later, Beverly walks up, takes everything, and goes into the HOA office to check for suspicious materials. And then sometimes not all of it came back. Interfering with the mail is not a neighborhood issue. It is a federal crime. I am not confrontational by nature. But I am extremely good at documentation. I compiled every email demanding keys, the mandatory forms, HOA meeting minutes where she mentioned inspecting packages for safety, video clips of Beverly entering my property, footage of her taking my mail and parcels. Then I made 2 calls. To a lawyer. To the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. The postal inspector was calm, polite, and either very bored or extremely interested. Hard to tell over the phone. 2 days later, an unmarked car parked discreetly at the end of our street. Over the next week, inspectors quietly interviewed the mail carrier. They installed a temporary decoy camera by the cluster mailbox. They asked me to just go about your normal routine. Normal routine now included ordering a few test packages. Each one addressed to me, each one clearly visible on camera, each one containing nothing but printed pages of the relevant federal statutes on mail theft. On day 4, I watched from my window as the mail carrier delivers packages. 30 minutes later, Beverly strolls up, looks around once, loads 3 houses worth of packages into a rolling cart, wheels them into the HOA office with a nothing-to-see-here face. 10 minutes after that, 2 men I did not recognize crossed the street. They were in polos, not suits, and wore expressions that said we are not here to talk about lawn length. They knocked on the HOA office door. I do not know what was said, but I do know this. When Beverly came out, she looked like someone had told her the word federal and felony in the same sentence. I thought that might be the end of it, some stern warning, maybe a fine. Then the inspectors called me. Mr. Briggs, do you have reason to believe Miss Klene has access to keys to other homes as well? Yes, I said. She more or less bragged about it. Would you be willing to testify to that? They asked. I looked out at Mapleview Estates, the neat lawns, matching mailboxes, beige houses, and thought about how many people had handed over their keys because they were scared of fines. Absolutely, I said. 2 weeks later was the emergency HOA meeting. Emergency, in this case, meant the FBI, postal inspectors, and a couple of local cops wanted everyone in one place. The clubhouse was packed. Beverly sat at the front table, tight smile, stacks of papers, acting like this was just another budget talk. Before we begin, she said, voice trembling slightly, I want to remind everyone that the safety initiative has kept us incident-free for. Miss Klene interrupted the man in the suit near the back. Let us go over how you define safety. He stepped forward, flashed a badge, and said words that made the room go silent. Special Agent Archer, FBI. This is Inspector Martinez, U.S. Postal Inspection Service. We have been investigating several complaints regarding this HOA's activities. Beverly's smile disintegrated. Oh, she said, laugh high and thin, this must be about those porch pirates. I have been doing my best to intercept packages. That, Martinez said calmly, is the problem. The projector flickered on. Clip 1. Beverly taking armfuls of mail from the cluster boxes. Clip 2. Beverly unlocking a back door. Clip 3. Beverly inside my kitchen, flashlight sweeping over my counter. Gasps went around the room. Now, to be clear, Archer said, you did not have a warrant, correct? You are not law enforcement? I am the HOA president, Beverly said weakly. That is not a law enforcement title, Archer replied. She tried to pivot. Residents gave us keys. For emergencies. A woman in the back shot to her feet. You told me I had to give you my keys or I would be fined. Another neighbor shouted angrily. You told me the insurance company required it. A third voice called out, you went into my house while I was at work and left a note about my unapproved toaster. Archer held up a folder. We have multiple statements indicating coercion and misrepresentation of your authority. Then Martinez laid out the real hammer. Opening and delaying mail is a federal offense, he said. Doing it systematically across a residential community is not safety, Miss Klene. That is a felony. Several, actually. Beverly, cornered, went for the nuclear HOA move. She pointed at me. This is his fault. She shrieked. He has been undermining community safety from day one. She slammed a palm on the table. He refused to participate. He hoarded his keys. He filmed you breaking into his house, Archer finished. Yes. He did. Very clearly. All eyes turned to the screen as the final clip played. Beverly, in my kitchen, opening my mail and rifling through my drawers, pulling out the box of printed statutes and frowning at them like they had insulted her. Agent Archer closed the folder. Miss Klene, he said, stand up and place your hands behind your back. She laughed. You cannot arrest me. I am the president. I almost felt bad for her when Martinez replied, perfectly flat, ma'am, where you are going, that title will not impress anyone. They cuffed her as the neighbors watched, some shocked, some delighted, some quietly filming like this was the series finale of a show that had gone on too long. As they led her out, she twisted around, eyes locking on me. You have ruined this community, she spat with venom in her voice. I shook my head. I just locked my own doors, Bev. You kicked them open and then opened my mail. 3 months later, Beverly Klene stood in federal court as the judge read the sentence. 5 years in federal prison for mail theft, wire fraud, and unlawful entry. Restitution to affected homeowners. Lifetime ban from serving on any homeowners association board. Her face went white. She opened her mouth to protest, but no words came out. The woman who had controlled every door in the neighborhood could not open the one that mattered most, the door to freedom.